You're listening to Cards to the Moon, a podcast about trading cards from both a collector and investor perspective. We hope you'll stick around for the ride as we take a deep dive into the state of the hobby, share some hot takes, hopefully some useful advice, and fun stories along the way. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Cards to the Moon. This is episode 232, and my name is Clark from 5cardguys.com and 5cardguys on Instagram. I'm flying solo just for the intro here because for this episode, we're going to play you several clips from our time this past weekend at Fanatics Fest. Hyung was able to join as well, and we shot and recorded a ton of footage, which we're putting together as we speak in vlog format so that you can see it on YouTube. Just make sure you follow our socials to get a heads up when we drop that video. But I can say right now, unapologetically, Fanatics Fest was a lot of fun. Of course, it wasn't perfect, nothing is, but for the inaugural event and for what it's supposed to be, which is a fan fest for sports lovers with a card show embedded within this sports-themed festival, I give it a 9, easily. Now, we've heard some vendors who are set up at the show, they were a little more critical, and you'll hear from some of them that had booths set up give some of their feedback, which I think is absolutely fair. In fact, Michael Rubin, the CEO of Fanatics, said himself in a panel discussion that we were able to attend that he'd rather listen to what can be done to improve Fanatics Fest than receiving only positive accolades. We were also able to chat with fellow hobbyists about their experience, including friends of the podcast over lunch and some new friends while we were waiting in line to buy exclusive FanFest products, which we'll talk about. So that's all to say, you'll definitely hear more than just me in this episode, but I will set up each clip so that you know what's going on. All right, like I said, there's a lot of footage, so we might do a part 2 for this podcast on Friday, but let's begin part 1. And I think a good place to start is EJ Ferrer. I think that's how you say his last name. He's a co-founder of the Burbank Card Show, and he's also an organizing member of Fanatics events that put Fanatics Fest together. We were introduced to him by our good hobby friend Denny Cards, who you'll also hear in this clip. But take a listen as he shares what it took for the show to come together, how long they had to prep, and right out of his mouth, what you can expect at Fanatics Fan Fest Orlando, which I think if you're primarily a sports card collector, then that's the show that's going to be for you.
Here with Denny Cards, we're going to go meet EJ, who set all this up. There he is.
EJ Dynasty Mode. He set this whole thing up. This is him.
Let's go.
What's up, guys? This is the guy.
Amazing job.
No, it's a team effort, man. It's a team
Nice to meet you, Clark from 5 Card Guys.
EJ. Nice to meet you.
Five card guys.
Yeah.
5 card guys.
Five card guys.
There's 2 of us here, Cards to the Moon podcast.
5 guys.
Five.
No, totally different industry.
Denny? Yes. Dude, nice to finally meet you.
No, nice to finally meet you.
Dude, you always show mad love, bro. Thank you so much.
I love people when they do good things in the hobby, and like you are like when you ran Burbank, I was like, I want to go out there. You run it so well. You run things so well. So I'm really excited to see. I mean, already just walking in, it's like I can't even imagine the logistics it took to do all this.
Oh, dude. I mean, look, our team, just overall, it's like an all-star team. I mean, just an all-star team filled with just great people. I work with a cast of folks that have a history of just running great events, not just great events, but being a part of great companies. Yeah. So it's kind of like the Avengers of fandom, right? And we were just able to really work it out these last 8 months. And a lot of people don't know, we only had 4 months to really build it out, right? And I mean, just looking at this, look at it now. I mean, it's just an incredible
amazing
turnout. And again, it's a Friday, so if you guys, I don't know when this video is coming out.
I don't know.
But look, I'm gonna do a shameless plug. I mean, I'm gonna do a first Fanatics Fest Orlando, November 1st to the 3rd. Make sure you guys stop by. It's gonna be a great event. I'll be there really, really tired. So if you see me and I'm sleeping, make sure you wake me up.
Gotcha.
Let's
awesome.
go.
Is it similar setup in Orlando?
Not similar, more so collecting and
nice.
card show,
Okay.
but we will have a more elevated experience with that. So think of that as our version of the buy, sell, and trade being the priority now. and which is fun for me because that's what I'm known for, right? And
You gotta go.
and just having some of the best dealers in the game, and just being able to just utilize experience, and that's what we're trying to do here at Fanatics Events. And man, be along for the ride.
This is just a little taste, and Orlando for collectors.
Hell of a job.
Let's go.
We're gonna, hey, Clark. We going to Orlando?
Gotta talk to the wife, but I really want to. Yeah, we'll have representatives
Hey,
there.
we
though.
learned from Will that you gotta ask early. You can't be afraid to ask early because he had the pass and he chose not to go to this one. But now
True.
you have 2 months, 3 months to set that up. So we expect to be there in Orlando.
Good advice. Good advice. Will, you're gonna be there for sure, right? So, yeah, let's make it happen together.
Next, since Hyung and I both have never been to the National before, we wanted to ask those who have to compare what Fanatics Fest is like compared to the setup and vibe at the National. So we were happy to run into our fellow Canadian collector and the host of the popular YouTube show Sports Cards Live, Jeremy Lee, who gave us his first impressions and his honest thoughts on not just FanFest, but the future of the National.
Jeremy, Clark.
Oh,
Hey, we met. Oh, that's Hyung, my co-host.
How are ya? How's it going?
It's been a while.
Yeah, right on. Good to see you.
Yeah,
guys.
we're just shooting content, but everyone else is seemingly.
Why not, right?
When did you
Very
get in?
nice.
Just
Last night.
last night.
Yeah,
that's true.
yeah. Good. Well, it's great to see you guys.
Yeah, likewise. I'm glad you reached out.
Sure. Yeah. I was hoping to run into you, so it's good.
Yeah.
Glad it worked out. So how are you enjoying this so far?
It's great. Yeah, you know what? Because we've never been to the National. Actually, I wanted to ask you about that. Like, what are your first impressions having been to the National now?
Yeah, this is different. This isn't the National. It's not trying to be the National.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to be the National. I walked in this morning on that side. It's unbelievable what's going on
Amazing.
here. So many families, young people. I don't think they're here for the cards, and I think that's great.
Yeah.
So I think this is the kind of event that will grow the hobby one way or another. I'd say kudos to the organizers. They literally did a great job.
Yeah.
And then you have
absolutely.
this is a great card show too
That's true.
on this
Yeah.
side. So I'm really impressed by the whole thing.
Did you think it was going to be bigger, smaller? Because we knew this was only going to be a portion of the event,
I
but
didn't know what to expect.
fair, yeah.
So I walked in here, besides being all hot and sweaty from walking here from my hotel.
Yeah, us too.
I was just super impressed with it.
Yeah.
And the card show part is great too. I mean, a lot of familiar faces here, which is nice.
Sure.
But it's all the young, like over on that, like this is huge. The card show is what, like a quarter?
25%. He said, yeah.
25%
Ruben
of
said,
floor
yeah.
plan.
Yeah.
What's going on over there?
Yeah.
I think they, if they were looking to prove their concept of this show,
Yeah.
mission accomplished.
For sure.
I mean, it just shows that there is room in North America for a sports-related con.
Yeah. No, it's working.
Yeah.
Like half the time we spent was on the other side too, just enjoying what's here.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I think it's a great event overall.
Yeah.
So yeah, really impressed.
What do you think? We're all from Canada, so what do you think about the Canadian representation here in the hobby?
I've seen Canadians here.
Have you?
Yeah, I mean
Sluggers. Karlos is here.
Yeah, he's here, but GP is over there, and
Nice.
I've seen some others as well. And Steve Menzie, who owns Expo, he's
Right.
here checking
Oh,
it out.
good, yeah,
so
nice.
maybe he'll borrow a few ideas.
some ideas.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a great event. Great event.
You buy anything?
Not yet.
Scoping it out. Yeah.
How about you?
Us too. We're like, let's take it all in.
Yeah.
We're back here tomorrow. I think we're gonna focus more on like looking at slabs, looking at
Yeah.
what's available here. But yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna do that too tomorrow. I forgot my mic. Otherwise, I'd be doing what you're doing
Tomorrow,
I left it
yeah.
So tomorrow, I'm gonna go do a whole walkthrough,
Yeah.
grab some content and stuff. But I think it's awesome to be here. Glad you guys are here. It's great.
good to be here.
So, one of the cooler parts of attending the show in person was meeting new friends in the hobby, especially those who came from all over the world. And one of the first guys we talked to on the first day of Fanatics Fest was Wyverns0625 on Instagram. He came all the way from South Korea on a 15-hour flight just to set up a booth and sell cards at Fanatics Fest. Now, you'll also hear from Naz, a fellow vendor, who interrupted the interview, but it was all good because he was just showing love to his new Korean friend. And we also took the opportunity to ask him a few questions about what he hopes comes out of the show.
I'm with Wyvern0625 on Instagram. He's come all the way from South Korea.
Yeah, South Korea.
It caught our attention. So
How was the trip?
I am Naz.
Yeah.
I am Naz. This is my buddy right here.
I love it.
That's my best friend right here, man. Welcome to Fanatics Fest, everybody.
Yeah.
We hopefully next year you guys can come join us from South Korea.
Yeah.
And we would love to have more collectors.
Yeah.
You know, if not, we'll see you next year at Nationals in Chicago.
Yeah.
Come join us. This is my buddy. Whatever you need from him, okay?
Energy's great here. Energy's great. What are you excited about?
I'm excited about meeting new people and the fans and just meeting people that like us, that do what we do
Right.
and collect what we collect and build relationships and enjoy the hobby.
Yeah.
And help people grow the hobby all over the world. And that's why guys like him that are passionate and me and you guys that love what you do are here like the OGs to build this hobby. And hopefully we will get there, all right? Teamwork.
Love it, man.
Yeah. My best friend. Yeah.
Love you, brother.
This video
Awesome.
for the Korean community.
Yes, I know. I think I came in, buddy.
awesome. Thank you.
Anything you guys need, man.
I'm from South Korea. Pretty year airplane. About 15 hours. Really so hard. But I love the sports card community and the New York Fest first time. Really 흥분돼요. 떨려요. 닭살 돋아요. 너무 멋있어요.
How is the card collecting community in Korea? Is it popular, getting more popular, or is it?
Get more popular, but you know the Korean market is really small, more than the America. But I think the Korean market the grow up.
Nice.
How do you buy and sell? Do you mostly on eBay? Mostly online?
Yeah, mostly eBay. 다 해요. eBay도 하고 PWCC, Golden Auction, and private deal.
Private deal?
Yeah, my Instagram. Yeah, get on my Instagram.
He has a 9.5 Jordan here. I see the 9.5 Jordan.
Yeah.
That's a nice card right there. And then last, we'll promote your website or your Instagram.
Yeah, my Instagram, Wyvern. Yeah.
Wyvern0625, right?
0625. Yeah, right.
Awesome. Follow him. I'm telling you, card collecting is going international. It's popular in different countries. We're all trying to grow the hobby. So it's awesome to meet fellow hobbyists in different countries.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we had to sit down and talk with our good friend Darrell Chan, aka DC. So this is a longer clip where we asked him a bunch of questions, including compare the National to Fanatics Fest. We also asked him to give his honest opinion whether, if you were coming strictly as a card collector, would you still be glad you came to FanFest, or would you be disappointed? And to be honest, his answer kind of surprised me. He also shares a pretty cool story about meeting Michael Rubin himself and what he got from him, which is actually an amazing collectible item for his PC, and is probably not what you think.
All right, we're here with DC. We wanted to catch up with him here at Fanatics Fest, New York City, first ever Fanatics Fest, and you are behind a booth, right? So you've been wheeling and dealing.
Yep.
We just want to kind of pick your brain, what you thought of Fanatics Fest so far. This is day 2 actually, so we've been here a couple days now. But let me first start by asking you, and I'd like to ask, people that we've talked to already, if they've been to the National. Compare that to Fanatics Fest here. How would you say
Very
that?
different. Venue, very different. Venue is very big. When I came in on Thursday when we were doing setup,
Yeah.
I walked into the venue like, damn, it's crazy. Like right away we knew the air with the circulation was going to be good.
Yeah.
But
AC works. Yes.
AC works. But I think just walking through it was very, really well thought out. Where registration was. The path to go into where you gotta go, the vendors and stuff in the beginning. There's multiple entrances you can go in. So I just walked in right away, just through normally what I guess all the regular patrons would go through first. But they had like the basketball court set up. They had it all sectioned off in different things. Like there's MLB, NFL, UFC, WWE. There's lifestyle section. Then there's like retail shops and stuff like that. So I thought it was like really, really well thought out. And then we got to the hobby section, which is kind of cool. And that's where all the tables are set up.
Yeah.
So, walk by the Topps booth. Basically, I'm mapping out where I want to go the next day because we already know that we wanted to get those Topps Chrome Fan Fest boxes.
Yeah.
So, as an exhibitor, we have a little bit of an advantage where we can line up before everyone else kind of gets in. But even day 2 today, they changed it up a little bit where they wouldn't even allow people to line up right before 9:30. Just because, like, I don't know, it's fire hazard, blocking lanes, whatever it was. So we still got it, but the line was much faster today. Still worth it. Still good.
Yeah.
I think the big thing between FanFest and National, though, is that FanFest is not just about cards. FanFest has, like, all these different things, retail experiences and stuff like that. Like, you can go to, there's a batting cage. There's a golf sim.
Yeah, that's cool.
You could run the 100-meter, 40-yard dash.
Right.
There's a soccer thing I saw stuff, and you can go in the UFC ring, like things like that, which was pretty cool.
For sure.
So I would say like it's bringing different type of clients or potential clients to get into the sports card industry. So yesterday I would say it felt a little bit slower. Just because there was a lot of people. I think I was told there was 26,000 yesterday in attendance. And even though they all came in attendance, they weren't all in the hobby area.
That's right.
I think a lot of these people came specifically just for those experiences. And then as they were exploring the venue, then they say, oh, what's this? And then cards and stuff like that. And I saw the usual suspects, people we know, different dealers and stuff like that from the other shows, and go say our highs and buys. But funny enough, at this event, I've been behind the booth more than I had at the National, because the National I really just spent time walking around. And this one, like we have a half-size booth. It's a booth, but it's half the size of what we had at the National. So, and my friend also had his family there helping and stuff. So I'm a little bit more hands-on this time. But I would say that would be the big difference, is that not everyone's there for cards. People are there just to enjoy all the FanFest has to offer, which was a lot of stuff.
No, it's cool. Have you met anyone that primarily came for the sports side and then went to your booth?
Yeah, so a lot of people, just because I guess the way it's organized, when you're exploring and you walk into a certain area, it's inevitable to walk by us. Plus, the way Topps was set up, like Topps was sort of like in the middle. So when people see what's going on at this Topps booth, when people see people lining up, they want to know what's going on.
Right.
So they're looking around, and then I guess they inevitably see us. So I think once people started walking around and they started doing that, I definitely ran into people like parents and their kids walking around, and they're like, oh, I used to collect as a kid. I'll bring some cards. Like, actually, I heard from a lot of dealers, there were a lot of people you've never seen before bringing cards from their past, getting them graded, and then some of them just selling them. So I would say from the buying standpoint, we've been buying stuff still, but not from usual suspects. Like,
that's good.
Like very different people we've never seen before.
Yeah, no, it's exactly what you said. It's a whole different group. It's not necessarily all hobbyists where we're used to seeing the familiar faces and making deals. But what I liked about Fanatics Fest, or what I'm liking about this, is the experience. Like, it's a totally different experience. Me and Clark went to the Jeter Big Poppy sit down,
cool.
and it was awesome. It was actually a good presentation. You got insight from Jeter and Big Poppy, where you probably wouldn't be able to get that kind of information. And for us, we're creating content here while we're down here, and I was recording all day because the speakers were great, and then we're trying to get into KD and all these other different celebrities that are here, which is cool because you really never have that experience, I guess, before. So I think that's really cool to see Tom Brady walking the floor, see Dana White walking the
gonna
floor,
say.
all these other influencers. Not that I'm starstruck about these influencers, but
Except Tom Brady, we were kind of
Tom Brady, I was starstruck. Like that,
yeah, he's another
there's,
level.
like we said, there's some aura around that guy. He's just like he's the coolest human being in the planet, on planet Earth. Like it just he walks and everything just gravitates to him. So
for sure.
yeah, no, I've loved my experience so far too, man.
You know, you mentioned Derek Jeter, and it was funny during that talk. I don't know if you remember, but you know, this is a New York crowd, so everyone's booing Big Papi, right? You know, in jest, and then everyone's like cheering Jeter.
Of course.
But then, you know, Jeter at the end was saying nice things about Ortiz because he's like, just in case Fanatics Fest goes to Boston, I want the Boston crowd. So that's another thing too. Like we know there's going to be one in Orlando, and we heard from EJ, one of the show organizers, that it's going to be more collector focused, right? So. I like the whole idea of FanFest being a kind of a traveling tour.
That would be awesome.
I think that's different because you're bringing the experience to local cities rather than the national, which is everyone has to go to the national.
Can you imagine if they do one in every state?
It makes sense though.
Yeah.
I think that's
because the celebrities too, they filter out. You're not going to get every celebrity.
Same one, right?
Same ones. It's different ones. There's enough athletes that are impactful. There's enough celebrities to be present in, you know, Orlando, and they couldn't make New York. So I think they have the firepower to do. Ruben's a goat in terms of, you know, being able to, hey, Jay-Z, what are you doing? It's like, you come to FanFest, and Jay-Z's here.
Here.
So it's like stuff like that where I think Topps was never able to do stuff like that, and now it's in Ruben's back pocket.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like he's maximizing his resources to make an amazing event.
For sure. I want to ask DC something, you know, because you're set up here. Honest opinion, if you were here as a card collector, like you want to buy cards, would you have a good time here, or would you be disappointed? Like, what do you think?
If I was strictly buying cards, I would say there's still 300 booths. Like I started exploring the past, like the first day I didn't really. Yesterday I walked maybe half of the booths just because I had a little bit of time, but I haven't even looked at the whole thing because there's so much other stuff that's just distracting me but I'm interested in, right? Just to go look. I was like, I went to go get water for my buddies. I came back like 45 minutes later. Not because it's far, but still, just I stopped by the golf sim.
Yeah.
I stopped by the UFC booth. I walked through the art gallery. Have you seen the art gallery?
I think we
the
missed
art gallery. They had it at the National too. The thing I showed you the video of.
Yeah.
It's like art of like cards.
Right.
So like you'll have like the Gaudi Babe Ruth, but it's done in art form.
Right, that's pretty cool.
So they had some really cool stuff there too. And there's an art section, and it's also in the lifestyle section. So there were some pretty cool things there, for sure.
And you mentioned it, 300 plus booths. That's a lot. Like we just did a couple rows, and then, you know, it's like an hour later. And we're like, wow.
Right.
Well, I mean, you got to look at everything, because this is the way people, when they go, oh, where did you find that? I go, I was at that booth. He goes, I went to that booth. I go, you obviously didn't look at every showcase, right? I mean, I think that's part of the hunt. Like for me, it's like when I find one random card,
and you're like, that's it.
That's the one, right? So,
you know what's cool? For us, at least, because this is our first time going to a big show outside of Canada.
Yeah.
It's really weird not seeing so many hockey cards.
Yes.
And this is why it's taking me longer to, you know.
Of
usually I
course.
get to skip a lot of these booths in the Sport Card Expo. No offense to the expo, but to see so many baseball, basketball, football, it's crazy. I love it.
One thing that I thought was super, super cool, and this was DC's doing. You know, you ran into Michael Rubin himself.
Yeah, that was
so.
crazy.
You want to tell us about that?
Yeah.
Again?
So when we were lining up for the day 2 for the Topps Chrome boxes, the FanFest exclusive boxes, we were just standing there, and they were organizing the line. And we're standing in line, and then my buddy's like, "Hey, you have a Sharpie?" I go, "Why do I need a Sharpie?" Then I go, "Oh, I know what's happening. Someone famous is walking by." So we were looking. And then we see, oh, it's Michael Rubin. So we went up there, and I go, hey, can I get a selfie? And then the pen got passed around, and I got my exhibitor pass autographed. So it's crazy. And I have proof because I took a selfie with them too. And then I went back to the booth. I was like super happy. I got the box. And then the PSA guys were at our booth, and just talking. And, hey, I go, he goes, hey, what's that? I go, oh, I got Michael Rubin to autograph my pass. He goes, go get it dual DNA and get it encased.
Yeah.
So I was like, damn, that's such a good idea. So I went to PSA. There's no lineup. It's perfect because the show's still not open yet. I go there and I go, hey, I got this Michael Rubin ticket thing. He goes, oh, we can put under ticket, and they're gonna slab it, and it's gonna say 2024 Fan Fest NYC.
Amazing.
Michael Rubin.
What a cool piece.
Yeah. So I'm like, even like I don't even care what the grade is. The fact that I have this slab to remind me of going to the inaugural
for sure.
events.
What a collector's piece
Authenticated.
spot.
Yeah.
I think that's a great piece to have
for
both
sure.
in PC and as a valuable
For sure.
collection, because we're going to look back at this event and say, remember the first ever Fanatics Fest, and it was Michael Rubin who signed your pass, which
It was
is such a
pretty
cool
crazy.
such a cool thing. I think that's awesome. You have photos because we're
photos. I'll send you
and
photos.
it's being graded right now.
Yeah, it's being graded.
So after this, we want to capture
I'll
that.
show you
but
that.
Yeah, we
For
must see
the
it.
sake of the thing, we got to use his photos to show it.
So it was funny because they're like, so do you want us to grade the auto and do you want to grade the actual pass? And I go, first of all, you can't grade the pass because they punched the card. So the surface is not
That's so true.
So it's
It's altercated.
Altered. It's like authentic altered? No, I don't want that. Just do. You can do the auto grade. I don't care. Like an auto grade is fine. I saw a little streak in it, but maybe they'll be cool about it just because of what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Fact of the matter is, like, that's one piece I won't sell. I sell almost any card.
Yeah.
I won't sell this. Just like when I went to Topps Industry and I met Julio Rodriguez in person, he inscribed it. It says 2DC.
Yeah, amazing.
So I'll never sell
Yeah,
that card.
Yeah, that's priceless.
It's pure PC, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of like what you picked up, you want to talk about some of the deals you made here at Fan
Sure.
Fest?
So I would say, funny enough, most of my deals, because I'm not really set up here. It's my friend that has the booth to set up, but I help him out. So, I put a couple key pieces in the booth, stuff that like I normally do when I go to National. Either I lined up most of the deals before I got here, and then I'll trade them or sell them for cash so I can buy something else.
Sure.
So most of my deals actually happened during trade night. So yesterday we went to the Veriswap sponsored trade night at Bleecker Cards. And Bleecker Cards is like been here for a very, very long time in New York. Like super, super long time. So they're like OG. So they have a small shop, and then what happened was they held a trade night. They held one on Thursday too, which was open to more people, but yesterday's was by invite only for Veriswap members, I guess. So it was a little bit more intimate, and then Jeff Wilson was there, and then my buddy Eli has got that 84 star Jordan. We were talking to Jeff Wilson about it, so we'll probably be on camera there too. Yeah. But then I sold the mantle I got at the National.
Nice.
So I showed you guys that mantle I got is a 51 Bowman mantle, but it's not ripped. It's still one piece, but literally it's labeled from SGC as fragile, but authentic. And I went to every grading company and they said they wouldn't encapsulate it just because when they encapsulate, they're worried that this sonic sound, whatever, could explode the card.
Wow.
So I was so ready to just even sign a waiver.
Right.
And with PSA, we talked about it. Actually, the first time I went to PSA, I just went to just some normal person there. But then the second day I was there, one of my friends like, here, let me introduce you to so-and-so, who introduced me to like the ops. So ops, like, if you want to do it, you can do it. We have to bring it to higher up to kind of do. So they held it for a day, and then I thought we were good. And then at the end, they wouldn't do it. So I have it, and it's in a card saver. So you get a lot of questions because people are like, well, how come it's so cheap and why is it not graded? And then I have to go through the story. So at the end, like I had it. This guy saw it. He's like, what's wrong? I told him the story, and he's like, would you take this? And we negotiated, and I just sold it. I was like,
you did sell it.
I sold it yesterday.
Oh,
Nice.
nice. So it worked out.
Yeah, scoop a little bit, and then I'm just gonna go buy some more stuff today.
I was gonna say Nat Turner. You gotta hook this guy up and grade it, but now that he doesn't have it, maybe that other guy's gonna.
I think they actually asked him whether or not it could be done.
Really?
Or not. Like I remember taking the card out, my hands were shaking. I wish I videoed this because I was like, I don't know if this is literally gonna fall apart. Like taking it out of the card.
risky.
Saver.
It's risky.
It's risky.
Yeah. How about you, Hyung? We could wrap this up with highlights of FanFest.
You know, for me, I didn't have much time to go around the card booth. We went this morning, and I know you made a really big deal.
We can talk about it right after.
You can talk about yours, but mine was more. I had a few slabs that wasn't really interested in selling on eBay. The fees not worth it,
Yeah.
but. What I did was I traded it up to just Rafael Devers Sapphire PSA 10.
My boy.
Something easier. Yeah, I know it's your boy. So I was like, hey Clark, don't you want Rafael Devers?
I was gonna try to sell it to me after.
Sticker price.
Yeah.
150.
But yeah, it was more a move for me to liquidate my slabs where I'm not trying to push these cheap. It's like, what do I do with like a $40 slab? You can't really, I don't like shipping out cheap stuff. So it's like, if I can make a local deal, bump it into a higher card, get more trade value, and then if I need to cash that out, it's a lot easier to cash out on. So that's kind of my goal here.
Smart
and then other
plan.
than filming content, right? But
Which we did a lot of.
We did a lot of content, yeah.
And for your deal, it makes sense for the other guy because he probably has a store and he could
Yeah.
liquidate
he
that.
could just liquidate.
He
He
sells all
wins
that.
too, so it's a
More
win-win
easier.
situation,
Yeah.
I
For
think,
sure.
for both parties.
Yeah. And my deal was, so I had this Anthony Bourdain Allen Ginter mini frame card.
Awesome.
I bought it because I'm just a huge Bourdain fan. I watched Parts Unknown, No Reservations, and I have his book Kitchen Confidential, and I bought it for $35.
You
Can't
did well.
complain.
Yeah.
You did all right.
You did
How many
well.
X is that?
Yeah.
You did the math
It's a
quickly?
lot of X's.
It's a lot of X.
And
There's a lot of
so we're
extras.
walking, like Hyung said this morning, just because we haven't had a chance to check out the booths because we were filming a bunch of content yesterday, and I saw one dealer that has like a bunch of Allen and Ginter autographs. I'm like, okay, this guy might be interested,
Yeah.
because it's rare to see most of the
Sure.
sports cards.
Sure.
And I'm like, hey, would you be interested in the Bourdain? He's like, yeah, I'd be interested, right away.
His eyes light up.
Yeah, and then he checked comps. The last one went for $2,200 about a month or 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And he says, I can't go above that, but we can talk about it. And then he offered $1,750, and I said, I'll probably go to $2,000. That's it.
Yeah.
And then he said 18, 19.
Nope.
I was gonna walk. He's like, okay, 2,000.
Yeah, he wanted it.
Yeah. He wanted. You could tell after a point he wanted it.
For sure.
So I'm like, $2K, I'll stand firm, and yeah, cash, and it was
did
cash
well.
too, right? So I'm happy with that.
A profit's a profit.
So that's 6,000%?
You're still calculating.
I'm so like,
X's.
what?
Yeah, you
How
can.
many X?
And I love
take it.
Bourdain, and one of the reasons why I decided to part with it because I went to he did a talking tour when he was alive, talk about his experience and traveling and in the restaurant, and he sold a poster, and he autographed the poster.
Oh, amazing.
Oh,
And
crazy.
I bought it for $50. My wife at the time who went with me is like,
Why you-
$50 for a poster, probably worth $1,000 now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I had something that I could, and that was probably I'm gonna keep anyway. I have one thing, kind of like your Ruben.
Yeah.
I went to the show. That's where I got it.
PC.
Yeah, it's a PC for sure.
You should get it encapsulated.
Yeah, it's catching.
DNA PSA
exactly.
encapsulated.
It's this big. It's
Yeah,
like
they will.
3 feet.
You can make big ones. They have. I don't know what the max size is, but definitely there are bigger.
Like 8.5 by
Bigger
11
It's okay.
sizes. and
I
stuff.
got it officially framed too, so it's
Nice.
fine. Yeah, it
It's
looks nice.
Still good.
But yeah, I think overall we're just generally pleased with Fanatics Fest. We went in with zero expectation, or we didn't have much expectation because we didn't know what to expect. To tell you the truth.
Let's be real. We're expecting a lot from Fanatics, and
Right.
they
For
delivered.
sure.
They delivered. I'm
Oh, yeah.
happy with coming here. To me, I'm thrilled. I'm having a great time, and I'm not just saying that. It's it's good to just. And it's not even about the cards. Like I said, it's the experience, the whole environment, the
Experience
vibes, the people. So many people just meeting here. So yeah, I'm having a blast.
Whole package for sure. I mean, if you are only looking for cards, this might not be the show.
Yeah.
But if you are looking for a whole experience, this is definitely the show. I really, really liked it. And the fact that it's in New York, the stuff we're doing outside of this, I mean, I know some people are not really down with this, but I'm like, honestly, we want to go do all these different things at night. It's great.
I will say something before we finish this off. I've been traveling to New York every day, every year for the past 20 years. But as I get older, I appreciate this city much more.
Oh, for sure.
Food is top notch.
Yeah.
People, even their vibes are top notch. I don't care what anybody's. They're great people. here in New York. The city is vibrant. It's just surreal at how many people fill up the streets in New York City, and it just nonstop. So much love to New York City. I'm having a blast, and yeah, the food's been great.
Amazing. Thanks, DC, for joining us.
No problem. We'll start one more shout out. We had this amazing bagel for breakfast today. Everything bagel, cream cheese and scallions. Phew.
Where?
It's just around the corner from here. I think it was called Fells or Ferns or something like that.
We got good cream cheese usage, not like a layer.
No, buddy. It was
thick.
like this. It was like this. I'll show you the photos after. It's crazy.
Always good recommendations from DC.
Food, you ask me, I'll tell you about food.
There you go. Great way to end this segment.
So, right beside where DC was set up was Karlos, aka Sluggers55 on Instagram. His name might sound familiar because we've had him on the podcast before, so it's great connecting with him again. He's another fellow Canadian. And when we had him on the show earlier this year, he was really looking forward to setting up at this first Fanatics Fest event. So we wanted to ask him how he thought it went. And overall, I feel like he thought it went well, but I appreciated what he shared about how he thinks the next one could be even better, especially for dealers and vendors setting up.
All right, we're here with Karlos, old hobby friend of ours back in the Toronto area. We're great to see Canadian vendors here at Fanatics Fest. All right, we're just going around asking people how they liked the experience so far at Fanatics Fest. What would you say?
So far, the Fanatics Fest has been excellent. Had a great time buying, selling, just being a part of all the festivities.
Sure.
I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the Orlando show that's going to be coming up in the first week of November. First of all, from what I understand, this is the flagship show. And it's been a bang. That's all I can say.
And how would you describe your experience? Because you set up at the National before, the biggest card show, and other Burbank we mentioned off air. How would you describe this particular card show compared to the rest?
This show is growing. I think it's got room for improvement.
Sure.
It can't be compared to the National. It can't be compared to Expo, and it can't be compared to Burbank. At least not yet. Okay. If that's fair, I think that's fair.
I think so.
All right.
Yep.
But there is room for improvement.
Yep.
And will it get there? I think it will get there.
Yeah.
There's no reason why it can't.
Yeah.
Right. But it's to me, it's a starting point. It's a great show.
Yeah.
I think everybody is happy. Based on what I hear and the volume of people.
Yeah. And we're just saying, we were at the talk with Michael Rubin. Travis Scott was a guest there. And Michael Rubin, one of the things he said was he wants to make every progressive show better, and he likes to get the feedback. So if there's one or two things that you think would help the show improve, what comes to your mind?
Michael Rubin, buckle up. Okay? If you want to hear the truth, talk to your vendors.
Okay.
That's room for improvement right here, right now.
Fair enough.
And also, there can be there's some room for improvement. But at the end of the day, Michael Rubin, you've done a great job. It's been a really good show. Everybody seems happy.
Yeah.
However, talk to your vendors, illustrate your vendors, and they should be a good focal point of this show as well.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
And then we always knew that the Hobby Hall, I think is what it's called, will only be part of Fanatics Fest. And then a lot of it is on the other end where there's sports activations. Have you found a lot of non-hobbyists or non-collectors come over and check your booth out?
Yeah, actually a lot. A lot of the people who have been, in terms of getting autographs, memorabilia signed, they've transferred. They've come and bought some cards of some of the players that they're getting signed, or just some of their players in general. They say, okay, I'm getting an autograph. Maybe I'll just get a cheap card of Barry Sanders or, Dr. J or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, any of those players there, right? So yeah, you can definitely see the transition.
That's good. I think that was part of the plan too, to get more people into the hobby.
I agree.
Yeah. And last question, how do you find New York City as a venue for card show?
I actually like New York City a lot. I haven't been here in a very long time. I used to come here for the Gloria Rothstein shows back in the early 90s. But New York is a great hub, great venue. The people here are very friendly, And in general, I think along with California, Florida, Nevada, those are pretty much the states that I think most people would be willing to travel to.
A lot of people, yeah. It's a tourist attraction, New York City,
100%.
in the South.
Yeah.
I lied. One more question. I know you're a foodie.
I am.
How have you enjoyed the food in New York?
So far, it's been really, really good. You know what? We had Chinese food last night. However, myself, I love Asian food of all kinds. So we're going to try sushi, but I understand they have the best restaurants in the world. So I'm looking forward to trying a few more places in the next couple of days.
All right, we're almost at the end of this episode, but we had to make time for Denny Cards, who you heard in the first clip. But he sat down with us the next day, and we talked about why many of us wanted to come to Fanatics Fest, and it was all about the community of fellow card collectors. And Denny, I think, is the perfect person to talk to about it because he's so willing to connect people together, which is how we met EJ in that first clip. But the problem with knowing so many people is that Denny would get stopped all the time. So we joked that he seemed to always be late whenever we tried to meet up somewhere at a certain time. But it's totally understandable, and you would know how hard he went at Fanatics Fest if you check out his Instagram page, where he was posting content daily. So we're actually glad that we got to connect with Denny over the 2-3 days we were in New York City.
All right, we got Denny back again. We saw him on the day before the show. We caught up. It was the first time meeting him in person, so it's like we're old friends. So, wasn't awkward at all until
Until you just said it was just now, but yeah.
Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. But it's day 2 of Fanatics Fest, so we've been here for the last almost 48 hours, and and I just want to get your perspective on Fanatics Fest. Like, what do you think of it? And highlights, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. So my thoughts are as a member of the public, not as a dealer, because I'm not doing any of that. Not a press like you guys, not doing anything where I'm doing transactional stuff other than like maybe trying to sell or trade some of my slabs to vendors. The hobby area is kind of like it's kind of like tucked away in the corner, like the upper right quadrant. But it is active, it's lively. I think people are having a lot of fun. I've seen a lot of kids, a lot of families. And Friday, I know it's summer and there's a school that didn't start in Jersey and New York yet, but there were a lot of families. It was a Friday, and then today, Saturday, it's even busier.
Yeah,
I think this is, I don't know what an A+ would look like, but a lot of people I've talked to, it's like A-, they're loving it.
That's good.
I have heard word on the street is the vendors, they're not too happy. One, because they're kind of put onto the side and they're not getting as much traffic as they want. Mm-hmm. But I think they also bought a lot of like higher end cards because they thought, it's going to be higher end clientele. But I think I've heard from a lot of vendors, the cards that are moving are the ones that are like more affordable or more understandable. Because these kids or the adults, who are new to the hobby, they don't understand that if you buy a $300 card, you could maybe sell it for something else. They just want to keep it. So then in their head, they're like, oh my gosh, this is like
a lot of money.
A week of groceries.
$300 is a lot of money.
It is,
right.
yeah.
Exactly.
So they don't see it as, well, this represents a dollar value amount that I could later do.
Yeah.
But I would say the dealers are kind of like not too happy. I don't know if it's like I would say maybe for them, and I don't speak for them at all, and I would love to hear what they have to say directly on a podcast, but they're probably at like a CC+.
Yeah, I guess it depends who you talk to, because we just had Darrell on, and he's generally pleased, but it is different than the national, of course, right? Instead of asking you about that comparison, because I know you've been to the national too, but you just came from the East Coast National this morning, so compare that show, which is much smaller, I'm sure, than to Fanatics Fest, even like local shows versus Fanatics
so
Fest.
300 plus tables. I paid $15 to get in, and it was very much a traditional card show.
Yeah.
A lot of BCW, like not a sponsor, but a lot of the white boxes, a lot of binders, a lot of vintage, and a lot more dealers. There were some who were like, no, I'm not here to do any trades. I don't even want to look at what you have.
Really?
They were just like, I just want to sell.
Buy, sell,
Yeah, that's it. Okay. And so I did make some deals. There were some people who were newer and younger and just kind of like willing to negotiate.
and I do find the dealers at like smaller shows to just maybe sometimes be a little bit more inflexible, and it's hard to, that even if you're not going to buy the cards, just saying you're willing to look at it gives that reason to talk to someone.
Right.
Communication is so important. Customer service.
Agreed.
So I think some of the dealers who are more set in their quote unquote set in their ways, they might be losing out on some opportunities. But they like what they like and they just want to do what they do, and that's totally fine. More power to them. But I thought it was a nice show. It was in Westchester. The only reason I really went up is because I was already there. I was north of that show. But I'm glad that I got to go and say that I went to the East Coast National. But Fanatics Fest is maybe more of my kind of like vibe.
Yeah. You said there was 300 plus tables, so there's about 300 plus tables here at Fanatics Fest. Do you think the size is comparable from the East Coast National to the hobby portion of Fanatics Fest?
So they did have like autograph guests, kind of like on the like a raised platform stage.
Okay.
And so, the Westchester County Center is, I don't know, like they almost had like auditorium seating, like balcony seating up atop. I think they maybe even do like some sort of like, I don't know if it's like the Westchester Knicks, like I don't know if they have like sporting events in there, but it's pretty. It's like it's big, and then it's hard to say because I think we all know that when it comes to like your depth perception, if you have like really high ceilings, it can seem really big.
Right.
So we're in the Javits and it's huge. It's like it's a huge convention center. So the ceilings are bigger, higher, and it is just. It has a bigger feel to it.
Fair
I,
point.
I would actually agree with Denny. From what I've seen, is that I could see the vendors not being happy just because I would say yesterday was a little slower on the card side compared to today's pretty busy. So you're seeing a lot more. But that's exactly it. I think it's the generic public that's coming in that is not in the space, and $300 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I think the expectations of because from our standpoint, Fanatics is they just bought Tops. So they're like supposedly the hobby like guys. But in reality, Fanatics is way bigger than just the hobby. That's just one portion of their brand. And this is Fanatics Fest. It's not necessarily Tops Fest. Right? So I think the expectation is there, and I like the feedback because I think there needs to be a lot of improvement on the cards. I told you this, Clark, that I wish somebody would now project manage and take all the feedback they got from the dealers and now focus on making the hobby section way better, right? And there's so much potential for it. It's just a matter of if they do take that time to say, you know what, we're going to make improvements and take the feedback we get from people that experienced it. So I agree. I would rate that the hobby side of things like a C or a B, but overall like A- in terms of Fanatics. They could do things a little better or more efficient, but it's their first show, so there's some leeway there. Yeah,
I think the big test is going to be November when
Fanatics
it's
Fest
in Orlando,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And you introduced us to EJ, who is helped big time organize this show. So I'm sure
I
he'll
like to bring people together.
Yes.
I really do.
Denny really does that well.
I think that's what
you know. What this is why Denny's late to everything, right?
Yeah,
because we're like, Denny, where are you? We're supposed to record or we're supposed to meet. Let's talk. And then Denny just like even right now, I was looking for Denny. He just stopped and talking to two other guys.
Ryan from Gemray, just introducing you. Hey.
And putting people together, just like you was saying. Yeah. So. We appreciate
I was hyping up the podcast. You're really well. You have a big listener base, and they're loyal, and they like you guys. I said it before when you and I had the joint podcast, but I get more positive feedback from being on your podcast than other people's podcasts.
Wow, appreciate hearing that. Yeah.
So, but one thing I did want to say about the tables.
Yeah.
So, as someone who set up in local small shows in my Northern Virginia area, there is a difference between 6 foot by 3 foot tables and 8 foot by 3 foot tables. Right, 2 extra feet. I didn't go to the East Coast National and bring out the protractor and the ruler, measuring tape, and go, hey, what is this? But I also know that you also have aisle length. That aisle stuff, I don't know how it works. I don't know how many feet.
Right.
But National, the aisles are very wide.
Yes.
And small shows are very narrow. And then for the East Coast National, I would say it's probably in between the two. But I did have some people bump into the big bag that I have. and excuse me, sorry, coming through, that type of stuff. So you can have the same number of tables, but the square footage could be different.
Right. Good point. Yeah.
That would definitely change the feel and dynamics of intimate versus kind of like too much space. Fanatics is like almost like too much space in the hobby where it feels empty, but there's actually a lot of people.
Right.
I prefer that. I had to go, like, we're on one end of the show here at FanFest. I had to go washroom really bad, and it's on the other side of the wall.
So far to walk.
Yeah, it's the other side. But then the aisles were not crowded, like you were saying, Denny. So I got there, pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So appreciate that, FanFest, and the aisle numbering. I think that was one of the complaints at the National.
Yeah.
Like you don't know where you
the
are.
rows were crooked, and you don't know which way to go. So it's nice to say, like, hey, look up, 2,400, 2,500.
You want to tell the story about what happened with me with that, though?
You tell it.
So Clark's telling me he's in aisle 2,400, and I'm looking up, and the only thing I see are banners all across each aisle saying Fanatics, the Fanatics Fest logo.
Right.
The F. So I'm looking up, I'm like, Clark, what are you talking about? Like, I don't know where 2,400. Like, I'm looking up, and I'm like, where are these banners? The banner, you can see the aisle number if you are adjacent or catty corner to my vantage point. So the aisle numbers, you can only see it from, like, say, east and west. You couldn't see it north and south.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm like, what is Clark talking about? What aisle numbers?
That's true.
Should have been more clear, but I thought we could end off the segment with Denny.
Yeah. No more quizzes.
Yeah. Top 5 Canadians.
No.
If you missed that episode, we'll link it in the show notes.
gosh,
below.
yeah.
But you've experienced, like we said, 2 days of Fanatics Fest. How would you rate it? Just from your own experience, have you enjoyed it, or do you think this could be vastly improved?
Having an absolute blast. No one's paid me to say it. No one's influencing me. I do get influenced by other people, very much so, but I am having such a good time. And maybe it is because I missed the National.
Right.
So I get to see everyone that I didn't see. It's almost like summer, going back to school or something. Like, you see the friends, or hey, I haven't seen you in a long time.
Yeah.
But I'm having an absolute blast. For me, it's an A because it's. I just love doing this, meeting you guys for the first time.
Yeah, for sure.
And just having a great time with everyone, finding some awesome cards. I went to a high-end trade night at Bleecker, made a trade with Jeff Wilson, saw Grant Williams.
Yeah.
Just been making deals here and there and just trying to, find cooler and better cards than what I started 2 years ago when I came back into the hobby.
Yes. Yeah. No, appreciate that, Denny. And I'll close off with saying this: like, we're all content creators within the hobby space. It's like a content creator's dream. There's so much to see and do. Got to make room on your phone because you're just shooting everything.
That's true.
So it's yeah.
I had to delete all my family pictures and videos and pictures of my dog. Pictures of just everything that's not the hobby. Yeah.
My kids will have future birthdays. It's all good.
Yes, they'll have future birthdays.
All right, thanks, Denny.
Yes.
Okay, lastly, for this episode, we were waiting in line to get the Fanatics Fest exclusive Topps Chrome boxes. But while we were waiting, we started to chat with Will from Georgia, and we asked him how he enjoyed the show. But for him and us, at the end of the day, sports cards is why we made the trek to this show from our respective hometowns. And he had a banger in his case, which he showed us and we wanted to talk about on the pod. Anyway, here is Will, who we got to know while spending 2 hours chatting in line.
All right, we're here with, what's your name?
Will.
Will from Georgia. We just talked about how we both traveled by plane to get here. And let's start with your initial thoughts about Fanatics Fest.
Yeah, it's been a great show. Bigger than I expected, more things to do than I expected. I spent most of my time in the trading area day one. I think today I'll spend more with the experiences and stuff. But yeah, it's been a really great show. Saw a lot of famous athletes. Yeah. Tom Brady and Gronk and Jay-Z was here yesterday. Right. Not that he's an athlete, but yeah.
Celebrities.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah. What kind of expectations did you have going into Fanatics Fest?
Actually, I had no idea, to be honest with
you.
Yeah, I've only been to a few big shows like this. And this is the biggest one I've been to by far. I don't know, the hype was really big, so you kind of walk in with some expectation.
Sure.
But I think they did a really good job. I think they did a really good job. I think there's misses. Obviously, internet still is questionable.
Spotty.
But at least we have air conditioning, unlike some other events. So, hard to complain.
Have you been to the National before?
I have not. No, I've heard stories, but...
I like to compare the National to this, and we haven't been to the National either. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't been there yet. I'll probably end up going next year, I would imagine.
Same. We'll see you there.
Okay. That sounds good.
You want to show us a card? Like, this is an amazing card.
Yeah, so I picked this card up about 3 or so years ago when Shohei was really starting to turn the corner and be kind of a generational talent. I picked it up on eBay for, I don't know, like $4,000 or something. And it's kind of my prized possession, so I like to bring it, show it off a little bit, and if anybody's willing to pay the sticker price on it, they can have a good story too.
It's an amazing card for our podcast listeners. The 2018 Topps Chrome Orange Refractor, numbered to 25,
PSA
on card
10.
auto, PSA 10.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can beat that, really. Yeah. And did you buy any cards at the show? You've been here for this is your second day, right?
Second day, yeah. I picked up some good stuff yesterday. Tom Brady downtown yesterday.
Nice.
Picked up a couple other cool cards, but that's probably the one I'm right now most excited about. But I'm going to try to pick up 1933 Gaudy Babe Ruth while I'm here. See how that goes.
Nice. Last question. No one gave you a hard time wearing the Boston Red Sox hat here in New York City?
I got lots of Sorry, probably not allowed to say
We'll
that.
beat that.
All right, I got some ugly eyes, and I wore a Red Sox jersey yesterday, so a big Poppy jersey. So
you're just bringing attention to yourself that way.
It's dangerous in New York. It's dangerous.
You know what? As AL East members, we both have a common dislike for the Yankees.
UJ
So
boy, right?
yeah, let's band together. We'll be fine.
That sounds good.
Well, hope you enjoyed this different podcast episode of Cards to the Moon. We didn't even touch upon what Ruben said about the show in the panel we were able to attend along with Travis Scott, which was a crazy experience. So let's save that for the Friday episode. Before I close though, just want to shout out the people we met at Fanatics Fest. That includes all the guys we talked to for this pod, of course. EJ, DC, Jeremy Lee, Denny, Karlos, Wyverns, and Will. We also met a lot of great people in the hobby, like Paul Hickey of Sports Card Strategy Show. I'm glad we got to connect in person and chat about our respective sports card businesses and potentially doing something together in the near future. Mac_card collection, great to finally meet him in person as well. Cage Lawyer, the hobby insider, and a really nice guy. Jesse Gibson from Sports Card Nonsense, the biggest hobby podcast out there. Really approachable guy, and he gave Hyung and I one of his custom cards, which he had autographed. I love it. It's all about the cards and the people. Just can't ask for more. One more thing I want to quickly mention. What I forgot to do at Fanatics Fest was hand out some Cards to the Moon stickers, which I had printed off. I gave a few out, but there was so much going on, I forgot to do it more often. So, if you want a sticker, message me at 5cardguys or at Cards to the Moon on Instagram. And if you haven't rated our show, please do so. And then I'll send one out to you if you live in the US or Canada. All right, that's it. Thanks, guys, for listening. As usual, we appreciate you guys, and we'll talk soon. Bye. Hey, thanks for listening to Cards to the Moon. We'd really appreciate you subscribing to our podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. And you can also connect with each of us on Instagram at 5cardguys, or you can follow Hyung at Integrity Sports Cards or John at TradeU at Recess. You can also check us out at 5cardguys.com. Thanks again, and hope to connect soon.